good evening, and welcome to another edition of Fridays with Frankie on the Frankie and Ding Dong Show. I'm your host, Frankie Avalon. I'm here with my best friend and compatriot, the fellow other half of the Frankie and Ding Dong Show, King Ding Dong.
Yes.
Hey, buddy.
Doing all right. How are you doing, Frankie?
I'm doing great.
Doing a lot better than I was last night, for sure.
Yeah, you gave me the story about how one of your you almost died at work because of a mixture of chemicals.
Yeah, coworker, mixed a few chemicals. Never mix anything with bleach, guys. PSA out there to anyone.
Don't mix,
before we get
especially Listerine or any chemicals.
Anything with
if you're using bleach, it's strong enough. Trust me, you don't need anything else.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we're talking chemicals because that's going to be part of our conversation tonight.
Yes, and
we were just off camera. Doing some full-on durometer testing because my purple hammer from 2 weeks ago still has lane oil on it. I heard a rumor from people that don't know anything. I mean, experts in the industry that say that there's these little gaps in the ball that allows moisture in the air that makes urethane softer, and stuff like that is what makes these urethanes get soft without ever throwing them down the lane, which really cracks me up. And as you know, if you watched last week's show, I actually shared some email correspondence I've had with someone who's been doing this for 46 years at worldwide, probably the biggest urethane company in the world. And he took the time out to actually answer my questions and send me some really good information on how urethanes work and how molds work and how pores work. And basically, if these balls were doing what they said they're doing, as soon as you threw a drill bit in it, it would come out looking like you threw it in a Bubblicious machine, and you just feel like all gummed up and nasty. So,
and they've been working on inner cores and stuff. With the dynamic core, you got the carbon fiber core and the hammer stuff. So we know these inner cores, and definitely the outer cores have gotten better and better over the years. They're certainly not coming out gooey. These balls are definitely not getting
especially on the thick shell like urethane balls. And I have yet to have a drill bit anything on it except for ball dust. So anyways, we'll talk a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of science and junk science tonight, and how all that stuff works.
Yeah.
But we're going to kick off the show tonight with look, we got a comment coming in. Derek Mishu. He's got a nice podcast that if you haven't checked it out, check it out. He does a good job on that. Derek was actually on our show one time, and I had a good time with Derek. So I just wanted to say what's up. So just want to say how's it going, Derek. Share this up on your pages. It's live on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitch stream. If we get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers, we're going to do a giveaway. By the way, there's a reason why we have this beautiful Teal Rhino Pro here. This is going to be the ball we give away this weekend at the TOC event. So you can definitely win this if you show up and either watch the event or bowl the event. But as long as you're in the building and you want to get some raffle tickets, you can take this beautiful piece home with you, including free drilling from Bowler Builders Pro Shop. So
absolutely, and it's $5 increments for tickets.
Yeah,
you don't even have to be a champion and bowling in the tournament. You could be a spectator. And, enjoying some of the great food and great drinks at Bayside Bowl. And, of course, the live bowling action. If you can't be there, though, you can watch it right here on our Frankie and Ding Dong Show pages. Yeah. Again, the Facebook page, YouTube channel, Twitch stream. It's going to be our first event of the season, Frankie.
Yeah,
how exciting is that?
It's super exciting. We're going to be inducting our inaugural class into the FKM Hall of Fame, which is great. That's really kind of my baby. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
And got some cool stuff for that. We're going to have a nice unveiling ceremony for the bowlers to see, the 6 that are getting in. And got another surprise for them. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to be live streaming the Hall of Fame induction. We'll be live streaming the Tournament of Champions. Yep. And we have a couple of cool guest announcers. I have a feeling we're going to have, for the first time ever, an all-female booth.
Ooh.
For calling the initial qualifying of the event. And we got a real funky, interesting format for the tournament that I dropped today. So everyone's we'll go over that tonight too on the show. So everyone can kind of get an idea. It's combines old school Mist, new school match play type stuff with our fun formats that we have. So it is everything that you'd want of a TOC. The bowler that wins the TOC has the possibility of ending up having to bowl up to 8 games. So
That's pretty cool.
You know,
yeah,
it's gonna be a grind, but it should be fun.
Huge weekend,
Huge weekend,
Hall of Fame weekend,
Hall of Fame
Tournament
weekend.
of Champion weekend, and
TOC
it's the
weekend.
inaugural one for each of these events.
I know.
Like,
first COC, dropping that fourth major in. We're gonna kick off the season probably every year with the TOC.
awesome.
Which is, totally a huge event, kind of like what NASCAR does with the Daytona 500.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl of racing right out of the gate. It's going to be like what we do. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And then we're going to bookend that at the end of the year with the biggest payout in New England, which is the Hyundai 8K.
Yeah.
And hopefully, depending on how that goes, I don't know if there's going to be a different iteration of it. Be more money, maybe. Who knows? I mean, you never know. So, all kinds of stuff coming up this season. We got like 17 tournaments coming up.
Yep.
First one starts this Sunday at Bayside Bowl. 10 o'clock a.m. start time, 9 o'clock check-in. If you're a former champion in any of the 3 tournament series, our tournament series, the Carl series, the Miss series, I have the laundry list I put out online that shows all the champions. If you're a former champion, get into the event. The more people, the merrier. Right now, the tournament's going to be held all on the west side at Bayside, which is great. It allows the center to have half the house open if they're busy, which is awesome for us. All of our bowlers take up that one whole side of the house. And it's, that side of the house is so much fun. It's great to record in. It's great to bowl in.
Absolutely.
The acoustics are great.
Yep.
So it's going to be just so much fun. Look at Hungus. He's in for it all. He says, looking forward to it all. Hall of Fame weekend.
Hall of
TOC
Fame
weekend.
Yeah.
On the cusp of PBA week. That's what we want to get into.
Yes.
Right out of the gate.
PBA
PBA week is almost here. It is like Christmas every year, going to Bayside Bowl.
Absolutely.
PBA week is it's my favorite week of the year. We start. So listen to how this is going to go. We got the TOC Hall of Fame weekend.
Yeah.
Then we transition into PBA week, right?
Right.
And then right after that, the very first Carl's World Tour event of the season.
It's awesome.
Weekend after that.
It's like a trifecta of amazing bowling at Bayside Bowl.
Right.
You're either going to be in it or you're going to be watching it, and either way, you're going to be, participating in it. It's going to be awesome. You won't want to miss any of it. Like, starting this week, this is the weekend to get you pumped up for PBA. You get your inaugural class of Hall of Famers. That's amazing. That's awesome. Something that Maine has been missing, I think. And, you being the premier 100% tournament director in this state as far as it goes for real scratch bowling. Of course, we have our state tournament and everything, but if you want to talk about real bowling, Frankie, you've been doing it. You've been doing it for years. We've taken that to a new level. Yep. We've incorporated Hungus in with it. He's a big part of it.
Yeah.
And, with his series now, the former Miss Series, the FDDS series, I think it's going to be amazing. Having this tournament of champions is really cool.
I can't wait.
I would love to see as many champions show up as possible Sunday morning. If you haven't gotten in yet, you can still show up. You can still email us at the Frankie Ding Dong Show at gmail.com, and reserve your spot. But hey, the more the merrier. Like Frankie said, the more people we can get in there, the more spots we can pay. Bayside Bowl kicking in a ton of money. That way we can make that $1,000 first place
right now,
prize.
25 bowlers, and you have a chance for $1,000.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's absolute insanity for an $80 entry. It doesn't get any better than that.
It's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I agree. And so we're going to talk about that, but PBA week, let's talk about it. The draft happened over a month ago.
Yeah.
Got some great teams. My future son-in-law, Mr. AJ Chapman.
Yeah. Our boy's going to be back.
Chapman will be up here.
Back in town.
But back in town, and we got the Labor Spars coming.
Your daughter too.
Oh yeah,
I know my daughter can't wait to see her.
I know. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait just to hang out with everyone, have a great time. PBA week. The rosters were just dropped for the Bow Pro Am.
Yes, they are.
And, so I get to bowl in the Sharks team, Chris Prather. So
there you go.
That works out great. So I'll give a little Shark fin for the now former team. But
I love watching Prather roll the ball too. He's just got one of those great ball rolls.
Great ball roll. I think you're bowling with the friend of the show, Sean.
Yeah, I get to bowl with Sean Rash. How cool is that?
So you get to be on Rash's team.
Yeah.
I think my wife, Mrs. Brady, she is bowling on. Who is her pro? She told me, and I can't remember now.
Is it Serta Pro?
No.
Let me see if I can look that up.
Look it up. I can't remember.
Okay. And
I know some of the people on her team, but I can't remember who her pro is now. I'm so confused. Anyways, what?
so like we can actually transition that into there is going to be still that bowl with the pros thing coming up. So like if you want to add that into our Hall of Fame week, TOC week,
Yeah.
you could bowl with 12 pros in Augusta.
Yeah.
Come down, watch the pros,
Right.
school you again.
Oh, we got a great comment coming here from Hungus, and this is epic. He says, I read a story today about a Wisconsin, I think, guy canceling a big scratch tourney for lack of interest. Here in Maine, we've got 17 full ones, and our format spreading to Rhode Island and thriving Neva. Maybe New England really is the new home of scratch bowling.
Yeah, that's
I don't think that that's a bad statement to make. I mean, we have new series popping up all the time. I know, like the major bowling series. You know, a lot of what they're doing for formatting is based off what like the Hungus tournaments are, and it's thriving here, and hopefully it works well down there in that area, in the Rhode Island, Massachusetts area. You know, our series, the Hungus series, all that stuff.
Well, let's look at the DJBT series too that Jeff Perkins runs.
Jeff does a phenomenal job with that
series, and you know, Frankie, some of these bowlers are some of the best bowlers in the nation right here in the Northeast. I really think the Northeast has been kind of pushed like to the side as far as bowling goes, as far as getting recognized. But man, if you haven't started recognizing now,
you really want to get on that bandwagon soon. There's some up and coming New Englanders that are making a name for themselves.
Absolutely.
I mean, you take Nate Purchase, for example, was on TV for the PBA Junior Championship. I mean, one of those players has won a regional now already. So, you know, so we're definitely New England's on the map. I mean, we've had some great players for years. Don't get me wrong. There was a great post, I think, from New England Bowling on Facebook about some of the great rivalries, and it was cool to see some of the stuff people were putting in there. You know what I mean?
So, some Bogosian stuff,
right?
Some Blitch stuff.
Yeah, and Frankie versus urethane hater, stuff like that. You know, so Del Picard says we have a lot of scratch leagues here, which is great. I mean,
that's awesome.
You look at, I mean, just take a look at Bayside Bowl, for example, what we're bowling with. I mean, draft league is now basically 3 shifts.
Yes.
I mean, that's unbelievable, right? And it is loaded to the gills on Tuesdays, and it's phenomenal.
28 6-person teams.
Right, 28 6-person teams for a scratch league bowling on a shot, folks, that is very difficult. Like,
and it's a custom. This is a custom shot.
Custom pattern.
Based upon a shot that we put out in one of our tournaments, our Miss Match
Play tournament. Yep.
And it's a kind of they wanted to tame down a version of that, and I think what happened was they made it a little bit tougher. And that's what we're bowling on, folks. This is sport pattern 1.77.
177 to 1. I mean, that's pretty darn flat. We have some great comments. I love the interaction tonight, guys. Del Picard, he goes, have a nationals and watch the participation go down. East Coast bowlers travel anywhere, and Midwest and West Coast do not. And that is 100% accurate. Yeah. When you bring that to the East Coast, they just don't come this way. You look at the numbers of Syracuse we got.
Absolutely.
For us, it's great. We don't have to travel. It's our house shot. Yeah, that's our house shot.
It's our house shot.
Less than 2 to 1. That's what we bowl on. And Mama D, who's actually going to be on the microphone on Sunday, calling the action, says you inspired the Dirty Lou Derby too, which is true. You know, Shane started a very successful tournament series up in Lewiston. So it's another tournament series blossoming out of that the fulfillment the bowlers like from the tough scratch stuff. I mean, he even had one last year on the handle pattern, which I bowled great on that. Made the step ladder finals, had a 3rd place finish. It was awesome. Yeah. So, so a lot of that stuff. And that's a great point, everyone. Is getting more and more interest. Like I feel like it's growing so, like it's awesome, so quick, so fast, and so high.
Really great. Yeah.
It's good, And you never know. At some point, will it take a step back? Everything inevitably does, right? I mean, who knows if the economy turns and people aren't spending this money on certain things? I get it, but this is a great outlet for people. For a little bit of money out of your pocket to compete for pretty good prize money. Even our series, which costs a little bit less, you're still competing for $600 or $700 first place prizes for like $60, right? So I mean, and the Hungus ones, $1,000 on top was like $75 or $80. I think the entry went up this year a little bit. Obviously, expenses for everything go up, right? So it's phenomenal to see that again, the first Carl's World Tour event filled like that, and that's great.
And it's great because the bowlers around here, and I will extend this down to like that DJBT. They put out those really tough patterns as well. They really embrace the fact that you have to bowl on this tough stuff to really get your game to the next level.
Yeah.
You have to. You can go out and bowl on the China all you want, and that's might get you into these bad habits. It might not. No, don't.
Right. There's guys who like Buck Ripcord, good example. I mean, he can bowl on the tough stuff, and he shot 780 Wednesday night on the China. So
exactly.
Good bowling is good bowling, however you look at it. But
here's the deal: you bowl in these tournaments, like our tournament series, the Carl's tournament series. You're going to bowl on a lot of different style patterns. It's not going to be just like a different version of a house shot.
Right.
You're going to bowl on the short stuff. You're going to bowl on the long stuff. Most of it's going to be flat.
Yeah.
You're going to bowl on shit you've never seen before because Frankie and I are building it right now as we speak. And it's
yes. So speaking of which, we're going to be talking with the mad scientist immediately after the TOC to get our first oil pattern out for our first event coming up in October. So.
Yeah. So, and like some epic oil patterns have been birthed out of it. The what a pattern. Just some crazy stuff. But our bowlers realize that you got to bowl on this different variety of stuff to really broaden your horizon.
For sure.
To really showcase that fact that you are versatile in the game, which you need to be.
Absolutely.
You really need to be. And to learn. There's no really way to learn how to bowl on a long pattern unless you bowl on it.
Right.
You can watch as many YouTube videos as you want, but guess what, guys? Each one of you guys have a unique ball roll, and you have to learn what that ball roll does on these patterns. And there's always a pattern, I don't care how tough it is, that matches up with someone.
I look at the comments.
You have to bowl the tournaments
to
find that
pattern. You need the experience. You got the experience.
Bowl the tournaments to find that pattern. That's what our bowlers do. They put the money out there so that way they can grow themselves as a person and within their game, and they have fun doing it. I know you are really grateful for the people that we have
100%
on the bandwagon, as well as
our bowlers. Like I love them all. I mean, we have such a good community of bowlers and a variety of bowlers that bowl all the events. And I love the fact that you walk in the door and your first rule is that don't be a dick. And our guys, our ladies, everyone that bowls the events do a great job of just checking their egos at the door. And that's what it's all about. You can go anywhere and bowl against a bunch of dick bags, but at our place, that's not going to happen, right? We just don't tolerate it. Like, have a good time, compete for some good prize money. And at the end of the day, everyone's like, man, that was cool. That was fun. I want to come back. And that's how it should be. Competitive, fun, making friends, lifetime memories. That's what it's all about, right? Yeah. And let's have a good time and support the business and everything while we're there. So,
and I almost think it makes it a little bit easier for the D-Bad when they're hard, because they're going to be hard for you, sure, but they're also going to be hard for everyone else.
Everybody else.
So when everyone else is struggling as well, and you kind of look over and, at a bowler maybe that you admired for a long time, and you see them, maybe missed a head pin right on their first shot, it might make you feel a little bit better that they're kind of waiting at the stop for the struggle bus to come by and maybe pick them up too.
Right.
So it's very cool. And you have to embrace it. You have to try. It's kind of like winning. You can't fucking win the lottery if you don't play, right?
Right.
This is even better because it is, yes, it's a lottery because you might match up, you might not, but you definitely will learn, because one of the best sayings I've ever heard was one that you told me a long time ago.
Yeah.
You either win, folks, or you learn.
You
told me that a long time ago, and there's nothing more true than that, because I'll tell you right now, if you're not winning, you have to learn so that way you can move on forward and grow from that.
For sure. We got some great comments coming in. Delpa Card had said, about prize funds. He goes, 140 to win $4,000. I believe this is the Digger Doubles where we're both going to be. For New York in December.
Ricky the Razor, baby, let's go.
You're with Ricky the Razor.
Yeah,
and with a up and coming Hall of Famer.
Have we not announced?
I haven't announced yet.
Oh, okay.
But
I know it's
so you do.
And it's not my deal.
Dell says, I need a private jet so I can make every tournament you have. And then Hungus says, Bopo Airlines. I guarantee Bopo Airlines would have better service than like Spirit Airlines.
So
no question.
That's the next thing, Hungus, is a helipad.
Right, a helipad.
Right, just like NASCAR, we'll bring in bowlers.
Right. What could go wrong? Mama D says very challenging shots. Ball surfaces matter. I hate house shots now. Mama D, I think
ball surfaces matter. I like that.
Yeah, they do. So
Not
you and I are both in the
finish.
camp. I think that we bowl house shots for the simple fact that they have a sanctioned average,
100%.
and that's basically the reason we bowl house shots. Or else I would just bowl nothing but sport all the time. If we had a sanctioned sport league, I would just bowl that, and then just that's it. You know,
although that Wednesday night league is kind of
it's a great time.
It's
The teams on that league, we got 22 teams. We fill the center.
Yeah.
The people in that league are cool. They're fun.
Yeah,
so I would probably still bowl that anyways, just because it's a blast.
It is a fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You can slide in the approaches; they're great. So
wooden approaches still,
wooden approaches.
Yeah.
You know, there was a discussion earlier this week about humidity and affecting centers. With the wooden approaches, like there, you don't really notice it much.
Like
they still slid really well and no issues with them at all. So
those are nice and worn in too.
They are, yeah.
So,
you can always just replane those pretty easy. Delbacard says the beer is always good and ice cold. Have fun, absolutely. Connor Adams says Bayside is the best atmosphere in bowling. We have a great comment from one of our boys, Grindon Gaskell, who we love. And not only do I love all of our bowlers, that's out of state, in state, it doesn't matter to me. They're our bowlers. There's no in state, out of state.
Yeah.
They're our bowlers. No matter where you're
bowlers,
from, you're our bowler.
Yeah.
You bowl with us, you're our bowler.
Yeah.
So Grindon says, thanks to you guys and Charlie for providing a format and a venue to play in. In the new world of string pins and entertainment, bowling, it's getting harder to find events to bowl without watered down prize funds in the Northeast. And that is accurate. So many people want to, pay as much for last as they do for first. Maybe not that extreme, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's good to be competing for good money without having to spend a fortune, but still make it so that if you do make the cut, you're still making a little scratch. You know what I mean? So, and that's really what it's all about. Trust me, it's someone who tries to get as many qualifiers in as possible without, getting that kind of that good mix between the high end, low end, and making sure you kind of catch everything. It's hard. I trust me, I do understand it, but it is great, especially where it's all scratch all the time. You don't have to worry about anything. Just you go out, just beat whoever, and just win and get it done. So, Mama D says, I've been on that struggle bus. LOL. Yeah, for sure. I totally get it. So the first couple of weeks of the house shot league, I was struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, struggling a little bit. 630, 660 something. Okay.
Wow.
705 this week. Better, clean. Shot the rattler.
You averaged over 230 last year, right?
I did. So Troy actually told me that I was high average in the association, which is awesome. So association high average. That was,
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, and playing right of the big, which is, it's nosebleed. Some people have an issue with that, but
right of 7. Some people
have an issue with. All right. So PBA week, can't wait. It's gonna be a blast. I think there's still tickets available for like the general admission type stuff at Bayside.
I believe so. Yeah.
I believe so. Hungus can confirm that, but I definitely can go on the Bayside Bowl website and check that out under the PBA section. And if you haven't got tickets yet, get tickets.
Yeah.
You definitely don't want to miss it. Every single person I've ever seen that went there for their first time is like, I can't believe it took me this long to come here to do this. So make sure you go and check it out. It is the best event in bowling. It is phenomenal.
And one other thing about the PBA.
Yes, sir.
The real deal.
The real deal. Bill O'Neill.
That's who Ange gets to bowl.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Gets to bowl with.
I love Prather, but I'm jealous she gets to bowl with Billy O.
Yeah.
Billy O is a great follow on Twitter, by the way. He's great.
Yeah.
Hungus does say, yes, tickets are available. So get those tickets on the website
absolutely.
now.
Will not want to miss building. It's the biggest bowling party of the year by far, right here at Bayside Bowl, Portland, Maine.
So we touched on a little bit. The Bowl with the Pros event is coming to Spare Time Recreation in Augusta. I will show you the picture of the coaches coming. There they are. That's not mugshots, I promise. That's their real pictures. 12 phenomenal coaches.
They submitted different pictures for mugshots, right?
Yeah, these are in color. So
they're
there's no number in front of them or anything.
It's no strike.
We have the guy who dominated the tour this year, EJ Tackett.
Yeah.
We have the Ballards. Phenomenal lineup. Ogle, Sterner, Millant, Rash, Anderson, Vi, Buttriff, Marshall Kent, EJ. Smallwood, my boy Smalls. I can't wait to see Smalls again to just freaking have a beer with him and hang out and talk hunting. Him and I talk, we talked about that for hours last year. So again, September 21st at Spare Time Recreation, you get to I got all the information bottom of the screen. $150, 2 hours of coaching from the pros, a dinner, a mixer, 3-game 9-pin no top tournament. The dinner is optional. So it's a really cool event. Sean Ratch does a great job putting this stuff together. So I just wanted to get that information out again for everyone. They still have room, so you can go on the Spare Time Recreation website for Spare Time Rec in Augusta and get signed up for that clinic. I think there were around 30 entries last time I checked. I think they can max out at 64, I believe is what Sean told me. So there's still plenty of room, but definitely don't want to wait too long. Check that out. That is coming up, well, a week from yesterday.
Yeah, give them a call.
So give them a call. Check that out. It's really cool. So that's unbelievable. So yeah, so that's that Bowl with the Pros event. I got to get the Fryday Frankie up. We've got a comment coming in from Hungus who says, how lucky are we to have this party every year? It's crazy. Haven't really focused on it with the new lanes and crazy busy Bayside occupying my time, but just amazing to have this annually in our place. 100% Hungus. I definitely myself never take it for granted. Like, it is just phenomenal. Every time you walk into the building and look on the walls and see some of the history that's been made there,
Absolutely.
you know, it is. I mean, I still remember the first event with just the old side, you know, with just the east side.
Yeah.
And then, you know, people falling almost on the lane, like, you know, and it was like insanity, like that first year, right? But all those memories, I can still remember what that first year felt like. And now we're so many years later, I'm just as excited now as I was then. So, for Hungus and for the PBA, Tom Clark to have the vision as well to make this like that staple event and to basically save the PBA league by bringing it to Bayside Bowl, because the PBA league was almost an afterthought at this point before it came here.
Right.
And I thought it was going to fold, to be honest with you. And now it is like everyone wants to be in it. Like guys are like fighting to get on rosters and pissed off when they don't get on one.
Yeah.
For good reason.
Absolutely.
And it is so cool. Hungus, you've had so much to do with that. It's just phenomenal. And to have it in our home center, our home turf every year, like, it is, I can't even describe it. You know, just I remember when we were kids, if we just drove somewhere to go to a PBA event, we'd go to Windsor Locks or something for like a pro-am. You know, drive 4 hours away.
Or even New York if you had to.
New York, whatever. We get this every year at our place, and we get because we bowl at Bayside, we bowl in Bopo, getting the bowl to Pro-Am. Pro-Am night is just phenomenal.
Pro-Am night.
There's nothing better. Nothing better than Pro-Am night.
Craziness,
Yeah, it's phenomenal from start to finish. So, and the shows are great. The pros are all great.
Yeah.
So we treat them like rock stars because that's how they should be treated. They're the best in the world.
And then this year you add the LBC bowling for
$100,000 coming here. I mean, you got different categories for that. We're gonna have some phenomenal. The females are gonna go. We love Liz, right?
Yeah,
She's
absolutely.
coming. Danielle's coming. Verity's coming.
Fish and chips, baby.
Fish and chips.
Yeah.
Who coined the fish and chips?
Exactly.
Right here, baby. Right here.
Exactly.
She loves it. She's all in on it. I'm so pumped to have the ladies here too. Can't wait. It's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's so awesome. So you got to think about it. This is the most fun and exciting event in bowling every single year, to the point, Frankie, where they're trying to replicate this at other tournaments around, and they just can't, because
That's SIBO.
It's actually how much we love bowling here, and we love treating these people like rock stars, because that's what they are. It seems funny, like people would diss us. I wish they'd come to a league night. Like El Chapo's parents, remember when they came to league night?
Oh my God, they had so much fun.
Because we get crazy on TV for PBA, but you come to some of these league nights, Frankie.
For league night.
Yeah, dude. Especially you ring the bell for a tie match, and then you got people starting to watch, and
someone put up a thing about what it's like when you bowl like a big tournament or whatever. How do you approach a big tournament? And I said the best thing to do to calm you down is to buy like a bucket at Bayside for the tournament, and you get through that bucket, or like you do the 6-shot deal, which I drank all 6 of those before when I was
a bucket per hand, maybe.
I was just doing the shots and shots and shots. That is the way to loosen you up for a tournament.
Yeah.
And it works great. So I put that in some group. They were like, I think I tagged like Bayside Bowling, and I said, just buy a bucket before a tournament at Bayside Bowling, you're good to go. So,
well, work that thing you were having the finger pain.
That's what I'm saying. I think I drank like, I'm going to say in the neighborhood of 15 shots and at least half a dozen beers.
Didn't you get second place that day or two or something?
Yeah,
You
like
won,
I
like
got
a shit ton of money.
I did, yeah, a couple grand.
Yeah,
fun.
dude, that's awesome.
And I
You were
barely.
able to
Honestly,
afford-
I'm not gonna lie. I barely remember my match with Tyler Perry. Like,
Yeah.
barely remember it because
Yeah.
I was feeling way too good at that point. But my hand was because I had surgery coming 2 days later.
Yeah.
And I was just in so much pain. I just wanted to get through it, and it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So anyway, those are the memories you make. You bowl tournaments and at Bayside. You never know. It's awesome. It's crazy. It's cool. So again, here we are now. FKM Tournament of Champions. We are in TOC weekend. We have made it. September 17th, Bayside Bowl. Awesome. Can't wait. The inaugural class for the FKM Hall of Fame will be inducted. Our ticker's running across the bottom. There is your inaugural class. Jimmy Clark, Joe Colcord, myself, Mike Clausen, Charlie Mitchell, and Joe Ramsdell III. Induction will take place right just prior to the tournament. We're going to hopefully get everyone checked in by 9:45, do a nice little 15, 20-minute ceremony, and let's get everyone on the lanes and bowl.
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping maybe after the tournament, if we have time, if everyone's hanging around, maybe get some pictures with the guys. We'll get some pictures beforehand, but maybe some guys with some of the cool stuff we have going on that day. So I don't want to give away too much, but it's going to be a good time. So
yeah, you should be able to watch all that. The Hall of Fame induction right here on our Frankie and Ding Dong pages,
we'll have it for
Facebook.
You.
Check us out on YouTube, or if you're a Twitch streamer, go ahead and check out on Twitch, and you can watch that. You can watch tournament action.
Absolutely.
We kind of try to bring it all for you.
We try to do as much as we can, because we're just diehard bowling junkies, bowling fans ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're going to be bowling in the event because obviously we're both champions, and we would not miss that for the world. So
absolutely not.
I don't know if there was any other. I think we got an update on Meadow Lanes last time, but they're looped up and running.
They are.
So everything seems to be going good there. Hopefully they, knock on wood, stay open because we like it when centers in the state stay open and running for business. So
that segues me a little bit to bowlers that might be out there that know or have high school age kids. Mm-hmm. Start to get these kids together. I'd like to try to make some sort of plan. I have to make a schedule and everything for the high school year.
Right.
But it's hard, Frankie, when I don't know how many teams, don't know where they're coming from, or if centers are even going to have a team or not. So, I obviously have to contact centers to make a schedule. So, if in fact you have some high school age kids that are interested, and you want to form a team, get together with your center owner or center management, see if that's going to be a possibility. Get in contact with me, get in contact with the show. Frankie, we'll get you the information out there.
Sure.
High school bowling officially does not start until November 1st for practice, but we'd like to get together and see what kind of interest we have, because, of course, we need to have that schedule up and going for the teams, so that way we can get that season going.
Absolutely.
Also, youth bowling, Portland area youth. It's going to be starting September 30th at Bayside Bowl, 10 a.m. It will be $12 per week per bowler. You get 3 games of bowling with that. And looks like sanctioning this year for USB sanctioning will be $10 per bowler. I'm looking forward to that, Frankie. Bringing the league back to Bayside. We'll be bowling on the sport shot that Bayside has out there. So that way these kids will be learning and preparing themselves for some of these bigger tournaments that they will have going out.
Absolutely, and I wanted to circle back a little bit to the TOC because I wanted to talk about the ball we have right here, the Teal Rhino Pro.
Oh, yes.
I want to thank Brunswick Bowling for providing this ball for us. We will be raffling this off at the tournament on Sunday. This is a phenomenal piece of equipment. It is a thick shell ball. For people that don't know what a thick shell ball means, it means that it has just shell all the way down to the inner core.
Yeah.
There's no outer core. There's no intermediate core. It's just thick cover stock core. And that's basically it. And it's great because you know what? These thick shell balls, they hit hard. You, for the most part, have higher RGs with these balls because of the thick shell technology. And, they give you a little bit extra length. They give you some good pop on the back. This Teal Rhino Pro is a legendary nameplate in the Brunswick lineup. Phenomenal piece of equipment. So we are very lucky to have this ball at the event on Sunday. You can get your tickets there. You can win the ball. Oh, so
Shout out to Bowl Builders Pro Shop as well.
Ooh.
If you win this ball and you want to get it drilled at
yes,
Bowl Builders
right
Pro
there,
Shop,
free drilling.
drilling will be included for free. Thanks to Master Splinter, Jimmy Clark, shop owner, where Frankie works, where I work, and of course we have our PWBA superstar, Nut Sauce.
We're going to circle to Nut Sauce right now, but that's a good segue, Ding Dong, because Mallory just checked in. Mallory Clark, our resident PWBA star. Maybe I can at least win the ball because she's not holding the team. But she is our master of ceremonies.
She's
this weekend.
And she'll be on the mic. So
yeah.
you kind of already have a win there, Mallory, because you're going to have a lot of fun calling you.
Listen, I'll tell you what, Mallory, she said, he'll probably charge me for drilling it.
Well, you know, you get those removable thumbs,
right,
the ITs, you know.
So check this out. Check out this Hungus comment's going to pique your interest.
Okay.
He goes, let's talk later about high schools playing in Broadway, build some cross-bridge rivalries.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Yeah, bridge rivalries. I'm obviously, I went to school in Auburn at Everett Little, and we always had the battle of the bridge with Lewiston. Yeah. Like with football and all the sports. So to build that bowling rivalry, the South Portland rivalry would be phenomenal. Obviously, that's big in that area with football and stuff too. So that would be cool to build that in the bowling community. That would be awesome.
I was already kind of hoping that we could maybe open Broadway up as another venue for high school bowling, just to kind of broaden the venues a little bit. Yeah. As you know, I mean, we lost Brunswick, you know, we were almost
lost Wilton.
Yeah. So I just think more venues would be nice. And, you know, I know we have a lot of BOPO people out there that live in the South Portland area. Again, if you have high school age players, you know, let's get them out there on the lanes. Let's get them having playing a sport that they can love for pretty much the rest of their life.
And playing up that rivalry factor of it might be a good way to try to get into the high schools and maybe get them to actually, you know, dig the potatoes out of their ears and get bowling on their docket a little bit here.
Or at least, put out an announcement or something for
Say, listen, we're building these rivalries like you do with football, like you do with baseball, basketball, all that stuff. You know, we have kids that want to do this, and they're hardcore with it. They practice hard. They bowl tournaments. They're tough as nails, just like your other athletes. Let's talk them up. Let's hype it up. You know, these guidance counselors need to let the kids know there's another option out there for you to do. So,
and you're probably going to get less concussions than you would on the football field, or even field hockey for that matter. You know, bowling. So
for sure. Hungus says definitely can host. Really want to help expand high school bowling, which is great. Which would be phenomenal in the state. You know, that's a good next challenge to take on. I mean, everything Hungus takes on as a challenge, he does a great job with it. You know, getting the PBA here, getting tournament bowling expanded to the point it is now. I mean, the league bowling at Bayside, getting all the scratch bowling, all the sports shop bowling, going all this direction. Let's get high school bowling doing the same thing. I like where his head's at with that. And obviously, you have that passion for it as well. You've done a phenomenal job with it over the years. So I think it's a great idea. Yeah, let's do it. You know?
Any way that we can grow the sport, you know, for sure, especially for our youth, just because there really is so much opportunity for youth bowlers out there. Mm-hmm. Frankie knows, I know firsthand. There's just a lot of people that don't know, and we'd like to expand that knowledge out there, you know, especially for these, you know, people that maybe they don't play other sports, or, you know, they don't have a passion for another sport. Bowling is a great sport. It's a great way to earn some of your own scholarship money before you head out to school, even if it just helps out with books or lodging or what have you. It's helps, you know, and it's a team sport. It's very social. Again, we've talked about the benefits of bowling many, many times. They go on, and the opportunities are great. You know, even if you have someone who's looking to go into school for performing arts or something like that, I damn well bet there's a school that offers a bowling team and performing arts. That's the thing. You know, we're not saying go out there and pick a college based upon their bowling team. We're saying pick a college based upon what you want to do, and we can find one that also has a bowling team.
For sure. Absolutely. You know, you definitely want to get into a field that you want to make a career for yourself. That's for sure. And like you said, chances are they might have a bowling program to go with that, you know, or if you kind of narrow down what you want to do for a career, then you can actually say, okay, what schools offer this career, and do they also have bowling as well? And then, is that a possibility for me? Can I do it as a club sport? Do I want to do it as an NCAA? Do I want to do it as NAIA?
Right.
I mean, so there's all kinds of different avenues you can do. There's Division 1, Division 2, Division 3. Division 3 doesn't do scholarships. 1 and 2 do. I mean, so there's all kinds of different avenues for you to go past high school bowling. But that high school bowling part gives you the experience. While you're doing that in bowling tournaments, you can earn scholarship money to go towards that college education.
Yeah.
And not just at the high school level. This starts all the way from the time you pick up a bowling ball. If you bowl tournaments, you can be earning scholarship money from the time your kids start, picking up a bowling ball and bowling an event.
Well, and that's a good point. So, we'll take our Saturday morning junior league. I do believe that Bayside has the bumpers that pop up per bowler. Yeah. So we actually could have bumper bowling program on Saturday morning if you have children that are young enough to only be able to bowl with bumpers. I know that we've worked around it and only done 2 games before with the bumper buddies. Right. Still getting them in there, but getting them to finish before they lose interest. And of course, it's going to take longer for them to bowl. Yeah. You have the Bumper Buddies balls going 4 to 6 miles an hour, and then you have Anthony Cole's ball going 27,000 miles an hour. You know what I mean? So he's going to be done much faster. But we're working with Anthony, getting him to roll it.
Hungus is on a roll.
Yeah.
Dude, here we go. You ready?
All right.
I love this. Yes. He says, then we can get USM or UNE to start a squad, incorporate an Arturo or something on the coaching level, recruit kids that have grown up watching PBA League and dream of having Bayside as a home winner, as a home center. The creative weed is kicking in.
Yeah. Yeah. Hungus, that was one thing that I was
awesome.
Already,
I love that. That is phenomenal.
I was thinking about how we could try to get a local school on board with putting together a college bowling program.
And honestly, I mean, there's some float. I mean, there's at least a program in New Hampshire that I know about. That's
St. Anselm's. My good friend Tim Fry.
Tim Fry is there, and I mean, so why not? Why not bring that to the state? You know what? That might be the next way to get some of the kids that are interested in bowling in the state to actually stay home and go to school in their own state as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be quite honest, So I am expanding on my bowling knowledge as a coach and all of that all the time as well. And Brooke being a senior this year, obviously my focus is going to be once again with the high school program because of her.
Absolutely.
But once Brooke is off to college, then, what's my next level? And I had been, throwing around that college team idea and how can I get a college team around this area? So that's something I've already been kicking around an idea for. I would love to be able to do that. Any of you guys that work at one of the local colleges, USM, UNE,
any of those,
any of those colleges that are looking to get a bowling program maybe or add diversity to your college,
Well, and a lot of times, if you have programs like football or whatever, and you get a certain amount of scholarship money, getting a bowling program in there can, expand upon that and get more scholarship opportunity for the school as a whole. And maybe they say, well, we can add a couple of football scholarships if we bring in, another program or whatever. You know what I mean? So it's not a bad way to go. It really isn't. And, it'd be phenomenal to see that happen in the state. I thought I would never see a college program in the state of Maine, but you know what? It seems like it could be a real possibility with the way that bowling has actually grown, especially at the youth level and the young adult level in this area. And, I think it's a possibility. It'd be awesome.
That was, I don't want to say it was a goal of mine to try to bring or to try to start a college bowling team in this area, but I was thinking that was what I want to do as the next level.
Yeah.
So I definitely have already been thinking about that. Again, anyone who has any contacts in with one of these schools that think it might be a good idea, get a hold of me so that way we can, maybe start some talks on this. I'd love to be able to get a team, like Frankie said, here in Maine for some of our local kids that want to stay home and still be a part of a bowling team. We have some great schools here in Maine that offers, great majors, or even just import some people that maybe, they've never lived by the ocean,
Right.
and so the kids that want to go to school near the ocean, they want to experience winter. Maybe they've never seen snow,
All right.
but they're also a bowler.
And they like to ski. Who knows? I mean, the possibilities are endless. It really is. Yeah.
We can bring them to Maine, and they can go to school here in a beautiful environment and bowl. We'd be supporting passions. And yes, again, I'm not going to say it was one of my goals, but it was the next step that I was looking into.
For sure, which is great, and great minds think alike, obviously, which is phenomenal. So I love seeing stuff like that. So just do a little bit of shop talk. Actually, before we do that, let's get into some high score shout outs. I believe Aaron Tivitot at 300.
Yeah,
I got this week. So
nice
congratulations,
job,
Aaron Tivitot. One of our boys. He actually bowls our Wednesday night league down in Portland as well. So congratulations to Aaron on shooting 300 this week. So phenomenal.
Awesome.
Phenomenal job.
Absolutely.
I don't think we had. If there's any more high score shout outs from anyone else, please let us know. Throw them in the comments, whatever, and we'll put them up on the screen.
Yeah, for sure.
But we definitely wanted to give Aaron his due on that, which is we love when people bowl good. It's great. We love to be in it. So and I mentioned the ripcord shot 780 on Wednesday, which is really, who cares? It's just ripcord.
Well, okay. Now I understand it's Bucky, but 780 is pretty fucking good, Frankie.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like I bowled pretty good Wednesday. I only got the 705. So
right.
I mean,
260 average doesn't suck ass.
Yeah, no, it does not.
No,
it's good to see. Good. It's good to see Bucky feeling a little better too, physically and everything.
Yeah,
and makes a big difference. Trust me, I know. I've been through my fair share of some bad injuries, so totally understand.
He's one of the most important people in Maine State Bowling and part of the inaugural class.
He's part of the inaugural
HOF.
He will be in the Hall of Fame
weekend, Hall of Fame weekend.
But then, speaking of which, with the man who's been in the comments here, he's going to be part of that inaugural class and very well deserved, Mr. Charlie Mitchell. So
yes, absolutely. And yourself.
Yeah, myself. I don't like talking about myself.
Yeah.
So
and then Master Splinter, we talked about him, the owner of Bowler Builders Pro Shop, building better bowlers.
Yes, and so Master Splinter sent me the funniest text message today, and he was totally right. So I had this team scratch ticket that bowled a lot of state tournaments, won a lot of titles, right?
Absolutely.
Won a lot
before Catalina Wine Mixer.
Before the Catalina Wine Mixer, before the state changed the rules to only 4 bowlers and all this stuff. Right? So that team was me, Scotty Too Huddy, Master Splinter, Ramalam, and Buck Ripcord. Right?
Oh, that's pretty fucking good.
Great team. So last night, Master Splinter saw Scotty at the lanes, and he goes, "I just wanted to remind you that after Sunday, you're going to be the only member of Scratch Ticket that's not in the Hall of Fame."
Oh, lame.
It was pretty funny. He said, technically I had my arm around D-Web at the time, but Scotty was standing right there. That's pretty funny. Yeah, pretty good. I was like, coming in hot. That's good motivation, because guess who's bowling the tournament Sunday? Scotty Too Huddy. Has a chance to add to the resume and get a major.
Get a major win. Yeah.
Get a major win. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. Oh, God, I'm so excited for the season to start. I just can't wait. Like, it doesn't feel like the season starts until we get the first big tournament of the year.
I know, right? And it's to start with this.
Like, we're kicking off, like, right before the PBA comes with this massive event.
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. And then we go right into the PBA. I mean, does it get any better than that? I mean, really?
I'm quite excited. This is like the epitome of like the party bowling,
the big party
kickoff. We're right in the midst of draft season now. We're getting ready for our Bopo League year to start up.
I know.
And, this is the best way to kick it off.
And we're in the middle of what's normally called
Pro-Am, baby.
Bo Pro-Am is great. But we're like kind of in the middle, and I expect like after the PBA league, we're going to really be in the middle of what's called silly season. And silly season's always that time during draft league when you never know what's going to happen with Bopo teams for the next season.
Yeah.
People get talking to other people leave teams, people join teams. The rumor mill is wild, which the rumor mill's already been wild.
Yeah.
And there have been some big changes on teams already.
Well, yeah.
So it's fun to kind of be in that whole thing, right? And just experience it and see what really happens and what doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
What was rumor, what isn't.
Because there's always these crazy.
There's always something. There's always like these wild theories of, oh, what this is going to be this team that forms, and how are they ever going to get under the cap, and then does it really happen? Does it not happen?
Yeah. Or this team's going to disband, and this person's going to go.
It said Frankie to Skull was a big move. That was a big move.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, hold on.
Well, I mean, you get to bowl with Miss Brady.
There it was. There was my sign that was made by Viking Queen when we went up to spend the weekend with them, and so they had this sign sticking at their house that they made. They went to Dollar General and got all the stuff and made the sign. So
that's very creative.
They are.
I guess retired life.
These are called. I found these are called umlauts that are above the O, kind of like what used to be on like Lowenbrow beer.
Oh. They're not like eyebrows or boobies for the.
So they're called umlauts, I believe.
Okay.
Maybe I'm saying that wrong, but someone can correct me. But this sign is wicked cool. So Viking and Bike Queen, if you guys are watching the show tonight, I did save the sign. It's That's still awesome. Here.
And I mean, to be fair, you did bowl a season in Skull before.
I did, which was great. And my wife bowls on that team, and they're so much fun. I had a great time the last 2 years with Sharks. And I mean, like DDJ and I share like golf memes like every day on Instagram. So I mean, totally cool friends with everyone. So it's awesome. It's a good move, and I wish the best for Sharks unless we meet you guys in the finals. So
right, well,
so that's one big move. There might be more big moves, right? I mean, this is the time of year when we see it happen at Bopo. Like, it's silly season, baby. We're right in the middle of it.
Speaking of silly season, you know what's going to happen this year is we're going to have queen shit and king shit on the draft pattern this year.
That's true. Yeah, so, because it's been split up now.
Yeah.
The majors, the Bopo majors, have now been basically split. So half of them will be done for the Bopo pattern.
Yeah.
And half are going to be done on the draft pattern.
That's so cool, man.
I love that. I love that idea. Like, what a great move.
Yeah.
So it gives different people different levels of, Oh, and we got breaking news from Hungus. Qualifying opens up after the PBA.
Ooh.
So another thing to look forward to.
Silly season, man.
Dude, it is the middle of silly season right now. I love it.
Yeah. No.
And all of a sudden, Pinder's made a return. Like, the return of Pinder.
Yeah.
Like, you go on there and it's like, what is going on all of a sudden? Like, it was on fire there for a few days. Like, what is going on?
Pretty cool. I mean,
I felt like it was 2013 all over again or something. Like, Pinder's back. That's great.
Well, you just talked about, those teams moving around, people looking to move on teams, switching stuff up.
As that expands to more and more teams that you get to a point where you can really probably only have so many teams because there's only so many lanes and 2 nights of the week you can bowl.
And now 3 shifts and
right. So we're going to see what happens, right? I mean, who knows? So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be different and cool, and getting as more people that. As long, the people that come in, if they just want to embrace that whole Bayside experience, like the biggest party in bowling, let's do it, right?
Let's do it.
Let's fucking do it. Let's have a good time. That's what it's all about. Don't have a fucking ego. Have a great time. The whole D-Bad thing, it's not like it's a way of life. It's not a slogan. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
It's not hard either.
No, it's
the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
Not be an asshole.
Yeah. Just go in, have fun. Try laughing at yourself every once in a while. Yeah.
I mean, shit, I share more memes cracking on lefties than anyone on earth, and I'm a fucking lefty. So, I don't like have fun with it. If you don't have fun bowling, why are you doing it? Seriously.
Sure. Yeah.
Anything in life. It's not just bowling.
No,
you gotta have a good time.
I agree.
You don't go on vacation and be miserable, right? So,
yeah. And so again, moving the king shit, queen shit up, it just goes to show that, never get complacent, try to make everything a little bit better and improve on everything and, learn from every year, learn from every time you have a tournament, learn from every season that comes up. And I think that this moving the king shit, queen shit up, I think that's just another improvement upon our Bopo season. Again, like we talked about earlier, there's always a shot that lines up with everyone. It kind of, gives more of a chance for more people to win.
And that's why I like with our tournament series, ours and the KWT series and the Miss Match Play, the shots are so varied in length, in volume, in ratio that at some point, at least 1 or 2 of those patterns are going to favor certain bowl. Like a bowler might struggle for 3 or 4 straight events, and all of a sudden they hit an event where they just light them up.
Yep.
And that's what we want to see. We want to see these patterns cater to all styles of bowler. You know what I mean? So, we got some breaking news.
Maybe not all sorts of ratios because.
Well, I mean, up to, we're not going to do anything over 3 to 1.
Yeah.
Like 2 to 1 is like pushing it. 2.5, 3, never over 3.
Probably never over 3. Yeah.
So look at this. We have breaking news from the commissioner.
Ooh.
This is silly season news.
Oh, I love it.
This is great silly season. This is straight up. Welcome to Body English. Inigo Montoya.
Yeah.
Gloria Hole.
Oh, wow.
Look at that. All right. See? So look at, I mean, it's on. It is on. Body English retooling in the off season. You know they would. Inigo Montoya, like one of the coolest guys at Bayside.
Yeah, he actually.
He bowled everything everywhere. That's what I love about the guy.
And he's trying to learn, the game. And I'll tell you, he's getting better and better. And
I love it.
yeah, that sounds like a great addition to your team.
Ooh, look at this. We have Sandy LaChance, I love Sandy. She's one of my favorite people on earth. She says, enjoy your Fridays with Frankie. You two are awesome and make it interesting. Thank you for all you do. Well, we love that. That's part of the reason we do it.
Absolutely.
Jake O'Donnell checking in. Hot stove season. That is a fact, Jack.
100%. Yeah.
Speaking of which, any hot stove news you'd like to share with us with your team, sir? Any hot stove news you'd like to share at all? Or
we've reached out to a few people, and obviously we need to replace you on the team. So
Right. Are you you in the market still, or?
I think we have a pretty solid lead.
Okay.
And a pretty solid lead on an extra taxi person.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. So I like that. A little bit of a nugget there. How about Jake O'Donnell, who bowls on?
No, not a little nugget. Nugget's fun.
No.
Just kidding.
Jake O'Donnell, who bowls on oddballs.
Yes.
Jake, you got any hot stove news?
Wait, so Jake is LL Cool J, right?
No. Jake is
Brooklyn. Okay.
That's Brooklyn.
Yeah, so Jordan is LL Cool J.
Jordan is LL.
Okay, so we're talking about
Jordan bowls on. They made it to the finals this year. What's the name of the team? Yeah,
Sons of Dinner.
Sons of Dinner.
SOB.
Yes, SOB. Yes. So yeah, Jordan's my boy. That's family. That's my boy. He's family.
So, and speaking of that SOD,
yes,
Saucy Posse match.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys have any doubt
Dude,
of us getting crazy,
so much fun, dude.
for league, go back to our archives, pull up this past year's Bayside finals of SOD and so
was that the one? Yes, that's the one where I was drinking a lot.
You were
drinking
out
out of the cup. I was drinking Allagash White. It was like filled with Allagash White.
And I don't
drink
alcohol.
Show, and I'm just pounding Allagash White out of the trophy.
Out of our doubles trophy, yeah. Yeah, because I don't drink alcohol, so it's all up to Frankie out of the doubles trophy.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I'm gonna drink for both of us. So it's fun. Yeah, watch that video. It's a good time. So. All right, so we got to get a little serious.
Okay. Do we have to?
We don't. We can save it for next show.
No, it's fine.
All right,
it's fine.
All right, we're gonna talk about urethane a little bit here, because listen, I don't like when people do things without a reason, right? I don't like that. So get this. We did a little amateur test tonight.
We did. Yeah.
We did. We have our durometer. This is not calibrated to SPI specific standards, whatever. Yeah, fine. Anyways,
yeah, it's a durometer.
It's a durometer. So we decided. So there's still lane oil. There's lane oil on my Purple Hammer still from 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
So anyone that thinks these balls have pores in them that are soaking up moisture in the air, that's what's making them softer just by sitting on your shelf,
you're fucking wrong.
Correct. So I took this one here, and so
look. So this one right here, green pin purple,
and it's got lane oil still on it.
As you can see right here,
probably hard
the
because I have this thing up on the
USB-C
screen.
label.
Yeah. You can see the lane oil right there. Actually, I'm looking. I can see it. So, anyways, we decided to take the durometer and hit it on the ball.
We hit it on the ball first.
The ball itself, we're registering, like 71, 72 on the ball.
I think it was
72, which is right there. Dead on balls accurate. Yeah, dead on balls accurate. So here's the deal. So we get 72. We hit it a bunch of times. We go in the lane oil section. we're hitting 68.
Instantly.
Like
Instantly.
68, 67. All right. So then ding dong. So then we hit it back on the ball again. You know, it takes a couple of rounds and we get it back to 72.
Yeah.
So again, you get lubrication in the needle, right?
Then ding dong.
So ding dong has a great idea. So let's put it in the pin.
Yeah.
Which the pin is a hard material.
Right.
So it should be anyways. So we go in the pin and bang, all of a sudden we're at like 76.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Makes sense, right?
We go back in the lane oil part of the ball.
Yeah.
Bang, we're back to 68.
Right.
So then we're like,
but check this out.
Well, we didn't do anything else. We go right back to the pin, which was just 76, and now we're at 72.
Do you think the pin was getting softer, Frankie?
Sitting there in the span of 45 seconds, dropped 4 points.
Interesting, huh?
Interesting. But guess what happens after you hit it a few times? It goes from 72 to like 74, back to 76. How weird.
Magically.
Magic. Just like the cover stock did. We went back from 68 to 72.
You know,
that's weird.
Ever heard of lubrication, Frankie?
Yeah.
You have a kid, right?
Yeah. I do. I don't know where we're going with this right now.
Lubrication, right?
Right.
It's hard without lubrication.
That's accurate.
Yeah. But lubrication obviously would make the needle enter any surface a little bit easier, right?
Right. And, and basically as it encounters any type of thing, it's like you talk about the rolling it on an approach or down a dry lane. Anything that gets on the surface and impedes the needle is going to give you a false reading. It's basically false reading. And this is what I shared last week with talking to guys in the urethane industry outside of bowling with no skin in the game, with nothing to gain or lose from this. The company that I talked to is basically the biggest urethane manufacturer in the world. And so they actually, the head engineer there who's been doing it for 46 years was talking to me about the urethane process and how that works, how they measure it, how the material's made, how the material binds. And I mean, I learned so much over this process. It was phenomenal. I have a chemistry degree in my background. I know chemical compounds and stuff, not specific to just urethanes, but I kind of know how it works, right? So they were like, there's zero chance that if they were making the material that was going to get super soft immediately or get softer immediately, you would see that, especially with heat and compression, would be the two biggest things.
Yep.
So what creates heat and compression? When you put a drill bit into a bowling ball, the very first thing, it's going to create a lot of heat and compression.
Yep.
He said you would definitely see, if they're talking about these micropores built into the ball, these aquaphor pores, whatever they want to call it, there's a name for it. It escapes me now. That are basically, they're getting around the science of how urethanes. Now, to me, it makes no sense because the oil stays on the ball. That oil's been there for 2 weeks. It hasn't moved, right? So urethanes are made so they don't absorb, right? So if that was happening and that's what the urethanes are, how they're getting softer, you would see it with the drill bit immediately. He said, basically, if you put a bit into it and it creates heat, you're going to see, you can actually put your finger in there and actually feel a gummy material, and it should actually be on your drill bit. The drill bits get hot, but I've never seen any material besides just ball dust and, just,
grain and dust, yeah.
Right. So that right there tells me all I need to know. But he's saying it's virtually impossible for something of this material made at a 72 or 74 hardness for it to drop 4 or 5 points. He's like, it's impossible for it to happen without you seeing that immediate effect before you ever even throw the bowling ball. You would see it when you drill a hole in it.
Yep. And this is a urethane chemist, not for bowling.
Not for bowling. And he's just very fascinated with the whole subject of the fact that he's wondering how. And I was explaining to him how, rules for organizations are making rules about the urethane material and how it needs to be, the hardness needs to be up because they're supposedly losing hardness. And they did all these tests and stuff. And he was talking about the durometers they use and stuff like that. And he talked about being with the durometer type they use, basically the ball has to be directly at the North Pole angle on these durometers at a specific tension. And he's really getting into specifics of it. He goes, with a spherical object, he goes, what you should be actually doing is with the urethane pores, they should be pouring flat molds of this material that they're going to be putting into a circumference afterwards and actually testing them in a flat mold to get the true density of the material, to see what the material do when you can actually put pressure on it and stuff like that.
With this type of tool.
With this type of tool.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying. So Fascinating stuff. Like really, 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 and I love and knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely.
So when this whole process started, I really wanted to delve into it and be like, okay, is there legitimacy behind this, or is this basically just a witch hunt? And the more I get into it, the more that I lean into the witch hunt aspect of it. I feel like it's not accurate science going into it, and I just really kind of want to beat that drum. Like let's investigate this more. Talk to people like this gentleman that I spoke to, who is the head of this urethane company.
Yep.
And say, you know what? Let's get outside the realm of bowling and find out what's really going on, right? So he's telling me, like, I believe him. I mean, they make stuff for like the government, airplanes. I mean, you name it. Like they're making super precision parts that have to be accurate,
right?
And that are under extreme stress and pressure. So he would know what it takes for materials to lose hardness, to gain hardness, how this works. And he's saying a bowling ball made at this hardness with that material, with that polyether material, it's just not happening. It's just not. It's almost impossible. He goes, and if it was happening, it would be what's called junk urethane, and you would notice it immediately when you go to put a hole in the bowling ball.
Yeah.
You would notice it immediately.
100%. Now, for those of you guys at home that haven't seen it, let's try to get a close up. This is what we're talking about.
It's a short needle.
If you see, can
the
you
needle
see
coming out of it?
Yeah,
you can kind of. Yeah, you can kind of see it.
Kind of see the little tiny needle on there.
Now they have big machinery that these things sit down from, and basically goes down in
and I believe what that does is make it so that way you have the exact same pressure.
The exact same pressure. It's supposed to be the exact same pressure.
But essentially, it is this tiny little needle.
Right.
I hope you guys
can see it. Yep. You can see it there. Yep.
That is what's entering the ball on this flat plate that they're trying to, get the hardness of.
Right.
Now, can you imagine any sort of contaminant getting on that tiny little needle? Right. Is going to change your reading 100%. Now, once the needle gets cleaned again, as Mo showed us, as we did earlier, not Mo, Phil, excuse me, Phil and Mo, as they showed us, and as we were even able to test it,
kind of screwing around with it.
Yeah. Once you clean that needle off again, yes, you may get
because the way this one's made is the needle goes to a point and then it actually hits a stopper, and that tells you where the pressure, and it stops and won't let you put more pressure on it, so you have to get it to that point.
Yep.
So that's when we're doing it a bunch of times to that stopper, which is obviously it's not a super accurate method.
It's not probably as nice
but
as the ones
again, for us to show a 4 or 5 point drop just from going to a part that had lane oil on it to a part that didn't. So you know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, it's just an amateur test here, and we can kind of take a look at that.
You run a lot.
I bet if I just put a bunch of dust and stuff on that ball and we hit that part and then the clean part, you'd see a big difference.
We could probably do it with this brand new ball and see it.
Absolutely.
You run a lab, Frankie. You always have like a control, and then you have your other specimen. But that control, it's almost like we're able to do that here just with our little test and show where they were going wrong when they were testing these balls. And it's. I love Phil and Nick. They have a great show, that Perception versus Reality. Great podcast. And, they were right on when they did this. If you guys haven't checked that out, go ahead and check it out. They get into it a lot more than we do. They have some great videos on there. Nick's wearing gloves, using new gloves, making sure that there isn't any way that the test could be misconstrued. The thing that's misconstruing it is the old technology.
Yeah, there's 75-year-old technology for newer technology, urethanes and bowling balls. That changes all the time, and it's when the gentleman I talked to is like, there's so many more specific methods that they're ASTM certified that they could be using to test this material, but at this point, it's almost like, do they want to? Do you want to possibly be proven wrong? You know what I mean? And say, you know what, this isn't happening. And it's really sad because we should, as an industry, if you're going to make decisions that are going to affect consumers, companies, all kinds of things, right? I mean, this is a wide-ranging professional people's careers, potentially. This should be vetted as much as possible, and we make sure we get the most accurate information as possible before making decisions on this stuff. But interesting enough, which organization, which bowling gets compared to a lot, is golf.
Yeah.
golf has zero standard on the hardness of the golf ball itself.
Right.
I checked all the PGA rules. I checked the USGA rules. They don't give two squirts of piss how soft the golf ball is. They do not.
They care about how many dimples.
The dimples have to be a certain, depth. They have to be a certain number on the ball. The balls cannot go over a certain distance with a certain, basically they can't go more than, I think it's like 317 yards at a certain amount of pressure put on the ball from manufacturer, right? But there's no actual standard for the hardness of the golf ball itself, which I find interesting.
Yeah. And what's cool is golf, much like bowling, you get some golfers that like those really hard golf balls and some that like the softer golf balls.
Yep.
You have these golf balls now that almost have a matte finish. Slow Ride likes to use those ones. And then you have those super shiny golf balls too.
I personally like to use like a little bit harder ball like off the tee and in the fairways, and when I get on the green I just like to switch to a softer ball that actually slows down on the green a little better, so
gives you better feel,
gives me a better feel and a little better touch with my putter. So again, this just gets to the whole thing with like the whole hardness thing. To me, needs to be vetted more. I've been really on this train. Like I've been spending hours and hours and countless hours with emailing different companies, senior chemists, vice president of this other company, and they're basically at this point all saying the same thing, which is like we're very highly suspicious that this would actually happen.
So it leads me.
And there's nothing, and this is the independent people that have nothing to do with the bowling industry at all,
right?
At all. So that's why, like again, I just want knowledge is power. If it led me in one direction, then I'd say it. If they were saying that yes, this is possible, I'd be like, okay, well then this other organization might be on the right track.
Yeah.
I feel like we're not there yet. You know what I mean? Like they're saying something else. So that's kind of,
maybe there's another sport that's might be similar that we could look into to check. Disc golf.
Yeah.
Again, you have, an object that's meeting resistance. Mm-hmm. Do they have hardness?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I could find out possibly. I have no idea. I haven't really vetted disc golf at all. Now I know, like in football, they have to have a certain amount of psi in the football. They can't be too soft or too hard or whatever. Yeah. So they kind of regulate that to a certain degree. But other than that, the material itself is a certain material, but leather material. But so I think in football they care about the hardness of the ball itself. But other than that.
But you have air pressure that comes into play with
that. Again, this is the whole thing. Like it's been cold, just like with bowling balls. This is the perfect example.
Yeah.
It's temporary. And this is what one of the gentlemen was talking to me. Yes, if you take a bowling ball, like he said, for you, and I think I shared this last week, to get that ball to read 5 points softer, you'd have to leave it in an oven at like, can't remember what the temperature was now. Say 200 degrees, I think it was.
Which is above what the
for like 2 weeks, and then read it immediately, and then maybe you could see that drop 4 points. But then as soon as that ball came back to room temperature, it would show. So it's basically just a temporary based on the conditions it's in. Just like if you left it in negative 20 degrees for 2 weeks and read it, it would probably read 4 or 5 points higher. But the material itself isn't. It's just because of the temperature and the environment that it's in. The material still hasn't changed. Like you said, you put it back in a temperament environment, it's going to go right back to what it was.
Yeah.
Because, again, and if that's the case, how is that material? If it got softer, it should always stay softer. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what he's saying. That's why it doesn't do it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't do it sitting on a shelf with the air hitting it and the moisture. Just not. It just doesn't work. That's not how the chemistry of urethane works. So, again, do with that with what you will. I'm just here to share information. So
absolutely.
So anyways, so we covered a lot tonight.
Use your purple hammers, people, as long as they're not 16 or 17s, use those.
Right. And like I told him, and he said, yes, something can be manufactured too soft, 100%, or too hard, or whatever the regulation is. If the material is out of the gate that way and made that way, it's going to stay that way. It's not going to get harder. Yeah. So it makes sense. That's why if something's banned because it was out of the factory too soft, just like with the Spectres and some other balls, they're too soft. So you know what I'm saying? So it happens, right? And that's just a manufacturing defect.
Right.
So you get rid of that. But the ones that start out legal, they're still legal.
They're
I'm sorry. I don't care what anyone says at
Yeah.
this point. Like the science that I'm getting from all these people outside this industry are telling me this. I'm going to believe them. I'm going to believe people with no skin in the game.
Yeah.
I just am.
Same idea for like the pitch blacks, the tanks, the
Right.
pink black widow,
Use 'em.
urethane.
Use them.
Use them.
They're not getting softer. I've thrown thousands of games with urethanes. I haven't put my hand on one and felt it softer after 10 games in my hand. It feels the same.
Yeah.
It feels the same 200 games later. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
You might have to wipe it harder to get the oil off of it,
Right.
you know?
Right.
Yeah, because like the resin balls, they're soaking.
And that's why the leather chamois are great for the urethanes, because the thicker ones, because you can really get because the oil sits on the cover because it doesn't absorb the oil, which is why it's more prone to showing inaccurate results when it picks up everything and sits it on the surface of the ball.
Yeah.
Dirt, oil, you name it.
Yeah. So
The resin, soak it up immediately. So you're not going to see the difference in a reading as much on that, because 10 seconds afterwards, the lane oil's gone.
I bet you if you took that, put it in the rejuvenation oven, a resin ball, pulled it out all slimy and everything, and then tried to stick this in it.
I guarantee it would show a different reading. There's no question. Guarantee. Yep.
100%.
So that's our show tonight, folks. We just want to give you a little bit of information, get your opinions on that. So if you have any comments about the urethane stuff, please let me know. Let me know if you think I'm on the right track or wrong track. You think Frankie's crazy, that's fine too. I'm a scientist, and I like accurate scientific. I like accurate scientific data. All right. If it's junk science, you call it junk science. Period. End of discussion. So let's get to the root cause of it. If there is a cause of it, or if there isn't a cause of it.
Yeah.
Because these rules and regulations affect a lot of people's jobs, people's livelihood, their careers. And basically for something that we were using as kids that nobody even cared that much about it. Like
no one cared. Yeah.
Back then, if you used a resin ball, you were a cheater.
Yeah.
Because that's when resins came out. Like I made this with someone on a social media post. Walter Ray Williams Jr. is a great example, right?
Yeah.
Didn't win a lot before resin. Resin comes out, starts winning a ton. Were people saying this guy's a cheater because he's using resin? No, this made his career. We need to ban resin. Blah 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 blah.
Right.
No one's saying that, right? No one. He's great, and he is great. And it'd be stupid to say he's not.
I agree.
Just like saying urethane just made these guys careers. It's a cheater ball now, and this and that. I feel like we have the same argument that we had 30 years ago when resin came out. All of a sudden, 35-year-old technology is now considered cheating.
Right.
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
I think the people that say that just don't know how to use it. That's my opinion.
Yeah. I'm not sure, Frankie. It makes me wonder that, so urethane wasn't always a thing. I mean, there was rubber, plastic, urethane. Did the same thing happen when urethane came out and the plastic people were like, oh, you were cheaters?
Possibly.
Or
Probably.
from rubber to plastic.
Probably.
Where the rubber bowlers, rubber balls, people like, oh, you guys are using Cheeto balls, those plastic balls, when really they only made plastic balls because they were colorful.
Right.
You know? So, did the wooden ball bowlers with only 2 fingers be like, oh man, those rubber balls, what do they say, Goodyear on them, and give a shit like that? Has this been a trend going on the whole time?
But it's the first time I can remember seeing, basically we're seeing older technology being utilized because of some of the oil patterns that they put out now. So in response to that, manufacturers are going to make equipment that works the best on these oil patterns. You want to get rid of urethane? It's a simple solution. Cut the oil volume in half.
Yeah, take the oil out of the fronts.
Right. Go back to 12 and 13 mil patterns like you saw when resin came out back in the mid-90s, early 90s.
Right.
No one's going to throw urethane, I guarantee it.
Right.
Because it's not going to get down the lane. It's not going to do what you want it to do.
It's going to hook at your feet and puke.
Right.
And no one likes that ball reaction.
Right. So, again, and this is what I said to someone else on social media, actually, probably the same person. The lane man dictates scoring pace. Always has, always will. Right? And dictates what equipment is going to be utilized the best for that scoring pace.
We prove it every time we build a pattern.
Every time we build a pattern.
Every time we build a pattern.
Single time.
Watch some of our videos. We got some of the best bowlers in the Northeast, some of the best bowlers to even touch a ball.
Absolutely.
And, they're not out there just whacking them. It is not a carry contest when you come and bowl one of our events. You have to bring your game and bring your spare game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw when we bowled our low volume tournaments, see a lot of plastic.
Yeah.
Don't see too much urethane. Not too much at all.
You see some people trying it, but it hooks so early.
It just gives you the bad ball reaction. And so when you're seeing more volume and a little bit shorter oil pattern, urethane is phenomenal. It looks great. But again, it's another tool in the toolbox. I can't remember if someone beat me 10 years ago in a tournament what they used for a bowling ball. Do you know why? I don't care. Obviously, they used whatever was the best for them to get the look they needed to beat me in a tournament.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what they use, ever. So for people to be hung up on what people are using for equipment, or to say a certain bowling ball or a material that the bowling ball is made out of is made their career, to me is just an asinine and a disingenuous statement. Yeah. And it's basically taking away from people's abilities that have worked hard their whole life, and they're taking advantage of a piece of equipment that helps maximize their ability, in my opinion. But other people are saying, well, if you didn't have that, you would suck, basically. That's basically what they're saying. And that's just bullshit.
That is bullshit. Some of these players, they're fucking good, and it doesn't matter what you put in their hand. You really think if you took EJ and put something else in his hand, he wouldn't be as fucking awesome as he was?
Right.
Right. Like, come on. These bowlers are fucking good. It doesn't matter what they're going to use. The top bowlers are the top dogs.
And even like the top guys in each region. I mean, it would be like me saying, like, Buck Ripcord won a tournament with using a pitch black. So obviously he must be because he used a urethane ball. Right. Well, guess what? Buck Ripcord's won fucking everything with every different type of ball known to man.
Yeah.
Why? Because he's really good.
He's really good.
And when it calls for it, he'll use urethane. When it doesn't, he'll use resin.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yep.
You use what works. That, to me, that's all that matters. At the end of the day.
Remember when we made him buy a bowling ball for our one ball tournament?
Yeah.
Just for that.
He bought that overseas pearl urethane. Yeah. Just for that tournament, which was awesome for the one ball brawl.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
So and
I want to say he also used that ball when him and Hungus won our Scotch on the Rocks. I think he used that ball in that tournament as well.
Yeah.
I don't think he just exclusively because it wasn't a one ball tournament, but I believe he did have that ball for that event too. So which was pretty cool. But
yeah.
So anyways, long show tonight. We apologize. We got into a lot of stuff. Like, we had a lot of fun early, and we wanted to get into the scientific stuff later on. It's very important. Not that I just hammer a dead drum or beat a dead horse or whatever. It is super important. It's stuff that affects the whole industry. It affects all of us. So, I mean,
across any of the brands.
It's not a brand specific thing. It's a material specific thing.
Right.
And you know what? This affects all the companies, Motive, Storm, doesn't matter who it is, Hammer, Brunswick. I mean, they all make urethane equipment, right? So I got one sitting right here. This ball here.
To control.
Cash in a regional with it, right? So there's a purple hammer there. There's a double cross over there. There's Pink Widow behind me. I mean, there's all kinds of different urethane, right? Every company makes them.
U2 sitting around here somewhere, I think.
Yeah, the Black Hammer overseas.
Couch, his Bud 2. Didn't he shoot 300 on the house shot last year with his
Bud 2? Old Bud 2 urethane, yeah. So
I don't think that thing's getting any softer.
I severely doubt it. And it should be a puddle of goo by now since it's so old sitting on the shelf. I mean, if they get softer when they sit there, that thing should have been a pile of crap sitting there, like a big goo.
Worse than the yellow dot soaker.
Right. So I don't know. To me, it seems fairly obvious at this point that this needs to be completely torn down and redone and reinvestigated. And maybe the governing body's doing this. I don't know what they're doing right now. Are they doing anything in response to what the PBA's testing showed, quote unquote, showed?
Maybe they are doing independent testing from the PBA.
Please, whoever you are that is doing this, consult these companies like I've done. Like, I felt like I'm just some dude who bowls, who loves bowling and wants to see the most out of the sport and doesn't want to see equipment taken off the market for no good reason. I just went and was researching myself and contacted companies independently, and they got back to me. They were really gracious about it.
Yeah.
They were very happy to share their information. I feel like if the head of a governing body or an organization were to reach out to them, they would be even more welcoming to that and be like, send us some of your stuff. We'll take a look at it. We'll even test it in our labs.
Right.
We're testing stuff for the fucking U.S. military
Right.
to go on fucking F-14s and shit. I'm pretty
Right.
sure we can figure out how to test your bowling balls.
Equipment. Yeah.
So that's just what I had to say about it anyway. So
Yeah.
we won't cover that again on the next show, but I just had to cover it one more time on this week's edition just because, I get more information. I want to share it with people. So
Lots of balls talk.
But hey, we're into TOC weekend. That's all that matters, baby. Let's do it.
Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
Don't miss it. Hall of Fame, TOC, this coming Sunday.
Absolutely.
Come down to Bayside Bowl, have some drinks, have some food, cheer on the competitors.
Yes, sir.
These are all tournament champions who will be competing for you live at Bayside Bowl. If you can't be there, watch it on one of our streams, the Frankie and Ding Dong Show. Catch us on our Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitch stream. And get in there and comment. Frankie and I will hopefully be bowling all day, but you will have our resident PWBA superstar, Nut Sauce, in the booth, and hopefully Mama D will be able to
we'll
be there with her. And if you guys are in there, stop into the booth and say hi.
Grab your raffle tickets. Maybe you can win this awesome Teal Rhino Pro bowling ball.
This thing is amazing. This is one of the best vintage throwback balls that they've made.
Awesome. I'm even buying tickets for that.
Yeah. It's fucking cool ball.
I've run 150 tournaments. I've yet to win a ball. So,
well,
say I'm due. Mrs. Brady won a ball. I think she got booed.
I was there. It's kind of funny, actually. We should have gotten that on video.
That would have been good.
Yeah.
Wish we had. That would have been fun. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. We'll see everyone hopefully at the TLC. Hang out at Bayside for the day. Grab some food and drinks. Have a good time.
Yeah.
Get out there. Watch us online on the Frankie and Ding Dong Show Facebook page, YouTube channel, or Twitch stream. And until next time, everyone, we will see you here on the Frankie and Ding Dong Show. For King Ding Dong, I am Frankie Avalon. And as King Ding Dong always says,
get those kids in the center.